When night falls and the desert wind whispers through the tents, the same story was told in every language in the sandy lands of the ancient Middle East. Assassins who strike fear into hearts, watch their enemies from the shadows, challenge death, and their master, mysterious scholar, brilliant strategist, ruthless leader, Hasan Sabbah. The castle on top of the mountain. Whoever went up there never came back. Hasan Sabbah. There, in the eagle's nest. In this episode, we're going to peel back the dusty curtain of history and journey along the fine line between reality and legend. We're embarking on a curious journey into the mysterious world of Hasan Sabbah and the assassins, a world where power, faith, and ambition intertwine. Get ready, because what you hear will shake you to your core and perhaps change your perspective on history. This is not just a story, it's a warning. Never underestimate the darkness that lies in the depths of the human heart and the power that faith provides. Hasan Sabbah. Bloody assassinations, secret meetings, and whispers of fear came to the mind of everyone who heard this name. But should this man only be remembered as a dark shadow in the history books? Or was Hasan Sabbah a brilliant, ambitious, and complex leader trying to find his way through the turbulent waters of his time? To understand the real Hasan Sabbah, we must travel to the heart of Iran in the middle of the 11th century. The city of Qom, one of the important Shia centers of the period, is where Hassan first breathed. His family emigrated from Yemen to Iran and valued knowledge and faith. Hassan also grows up in this environment from a young age. Sources state that Hassan had a sharp intelligence and an extraordinary memory. In addition to his religious education, he was also interested in mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. This hunger for learning distinguished him from his surroundings even at a young age. However, it was not only his thirst for knowledge that would transform him into the Eagle of Alamut. Young Hassan meets an order that will change the course of his life: Ismailism. This order, known in the Islamic world for its secret teachings, mystical rituals, and political aims, will deeply affect Hassan. This man who struck fear into the hearts of those who heard his name was also one of the greatest thinkers and strategists of his time. So what was it about the Ismaili sect that so influenced him, even determined his fate? Emerging in the Islamic world in the 8th century, Ismailism was considered a branch of Shiism. However, the Ismailis did not hesitate to chart their own course, both politically and religiously. According to them, the Imams descended from the Prophet Muhammad were both political and spiritual leaders. In order to truly understand and live Islam, one had to follow the teachings of these Imams. And at this point, different branches and interpretations began to emerge within Ismailism. Nizarism, to which Hasan Sabbah belonged, was one of the most important and influential of these branches. So what set the Nizaris apart from other Ismaili groups? The answer lay in their understanding of leadership and their political views. The Nizaris defended the rule of Nizar, the eldest son of the Fatimid Caliph Mustanzir, claiming that he had been unjustly deposed. After Nizar's death, they believed that the true hidden Imam would one day return, bring justice to the world, and establish a new order with the rule of the sword. It is here that Hasan Sabbah would emerge as the leader of this faithful and equally angry group. The teachings of Nizarism constituted for him not only a religious belief, but also the basis of a political goal. He was now a leader with both the fire of faith and the feeling of revenge in his heart. He needed a safe base to achieve his goals, a fortress that his enemies could not reach. And the place he set his sights on was the Alamut castle, which stood proudly on top of the steep cliffs, known as Inaccessible. Alamut, Eagle's Nest. This steep castle in the mountainous region of Iran had been the favorite of many empires and rulers throughout history, but its capture was considered almost impossible. But nothing was impossible for Hasan Sabbah. He relied not only on military power, but also on intelligence, strategy, and insidious plans. Hasan Sabbah and his most trusted men secretly went into action in 1090. They lived in the villages and towns around Alamut, hiding their identities, assuming different identities for weeks, even months. Their aim was to weaken the enemy from within and make the gates of the castle open from the inside. And the moment they were waiting for arrived. One autumn day, a disturbance caused by Hasan Sabbah's men inside the castle caused the gates to open. Before the enemy forces could understand what was going on, the assassins moved silently and deadly. Alamut Castle, almost overnight, changed hands without bloodshed. Hasan Sabbah and the assassins had captured the Eagle's Nest, but this was just the beginning. Alamut would be the stage for a much bigger and bloodier game. Hasan Sabbah was not only a warrior or a religious leader, he was also an intelligent strategist, organizer, and statesman. As soon as he captured Alamut, he began working to transform it into a center of power that all his enemies would fear. He redesigned the castle's defenses. Walls were raised, towers were fortified. It was equipped with secret passages and deadly traps. Alamut was becoming not just a castle, but a labyrinth. Every assassin who set foot in Alamut was subjected to intense discipline and loyalty training. Hasan Sabbah and his teachings became their world. They were trained to perfect the art of war, to hide their identities, and to infiltrate the enemy. Poisons and daggers became both their symbols and their most trusted weapons. Hasan Sabbah knew that the most effective way to defeat his enemies was to know them and to be one step ahead. For this reason, the intelligence network he established enveloped the entire Middle East. Spies, agents, merchants, travelers, all served Hasan Sabbah, bringing valuable information from enemy lands. No secret remained hidden. No plan remained secret. This fear empire, meticulously built by Hasan Sabbah, would grow stronger over the years and succeed in crushing his enemies, both physically and psychologically. But no power lasts forever in history. A storm was brewing within the magnificent walls of Alamut that would one day bring blood and dust together. Alamut Castle, the heart of Hasan Sabbah's fear empire. But the foundations of this empire were built not only with stone and steel, but also with the blood and loyalty of a group of warriors who defied death, sworn to their master. They were the assassins. Who are these assassins? Where did they come from and what made them such deadly weapons? The answers to these questions reveal one of the most frightening and surprising stories in history. Most of the assassins were taken away from their families at a young age, either orphaned or from poor families. Hasan Sabbah's men would find these children in villages, bazaars, and sometimes even on battlefields, and secretly bring them to Alamut. Here they would undergo an education that no other child could imagine. The assassins were put through a tough physical and mental discipline. They were mastering the martial arts and learning how to use swords, bows, daggers, and poisons. At the same time, the assassins, who were also educated in various fields such as religion, philosophy, language, and geography, were going through a special training to understand the culture and weaknesses of their enemies. But Hasan Sabbah knew that physical strength alone was not enough. What made an assassin truly dangerous was his unwavering loyalty to his master and a soul that did not fear death. This is where the legendary Garden of Paradise came into play. Legend has it that Hasan Sabbah created a secret garden in Alamut to motivate the assassins and overcome their fear of death. This garden was a place that contained all the beauty and pleasures in the world. The assassins would be brought to this garden before their missions, and after spending a short time here, would go to their deaths believing that they would reach true paradise. For years, the Eagle's Nest had stood strong. Even after Hasan Sabbah's death, his successors continued to rule the Fear Empire. The assassins continued to do their silent and deadly work. However, no power could last forever. A bloody storm was brewing on the horizon for Alamut and the assassins. In the mid-13th century, a new and much greater power was rising from the east. the Mongols. Led by Hulagu Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, this warrior people crushed everything in their path, wiping empires off the map. Next in line was Alamut Castle, hidden among the mysterious mountains. In 1256, Hulagu Khan's massive army laid siege to Alamut. The Mongol warriors, numbering in the tens of thousands, found themselves facing only a handful of assassins and steep rock walls. But the Mongols were not just a brute force army. They were also using advanced siege tactics and weapons technology. After a relentless siege that lasted for days, even weeks, the Mongols managed to breach the seemingly impregnable walls of Alamut. The assassins fought to their last breath, but could not resist the numerically superior enemy. Alamut Castle had fallen for the first and last time in history. Hulagu Khan ordered the complete destruction of Hasan Sabbah's fear empire. Alamut Castle was razed to the ground. Its library, along with the priceless books and secret teachings it contained, was set on fire. The era of assassins was over. Or was it? When the ashes of Alamut were scattered, many questions remained. And the most important of these questions was, who really was Hasan Sabbah? To some, he was a revolutionary who defended the rights of the oppressed, thirsty for justice. A hero who resisted the corruption and tyranny of the Seljuk Empire. To some, he was a cold-blooded killer, a ruthless tyrant who achieved his goals through fear and terror. One thing is certain, Hasan Sabbah possessed an extraordinary intelligence and leadership ability. His capture of Alamut Castle, his training of the assassins, and the establishment of his fear empire, which lasted for years, proves his strategic genius and charisma. However, at the same time, his methods and choices have sparked great controversy. Assassinations, policies of fear, and his ruthlessness towards his enemies have made Hasan Sabbah one of history's most controversial figures. Was he a hero or a devil? Was he a visionary or a fanatic? There is no single answer to these questions, but his story shows us the two sides of power and belief, and invites us to question our own values. The magnificent walls of Alamut are no more. The assassins of Hasan Sabbah are lost in forgotten corners of history. Only legends and countless questions remain. The personality of Hasan Sabbah shows us the complexity of human nature and how power and faith are two sides of the same coin. A leader who on the one hand tries to be the voice of the oppressed, who resists injustice. On the other hand, a tyrant who achieves his goals through fear and violence. The story of Hasan Sabbah and the assassins reminds us that history can repeat itself, but it also gives us hope. Because if we can learn from the past, promote dialogue and understanding, and learn to respect our differences, perhaps we can build a more just and peaceful future. I'm Ethan Godfrey. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, for each of your likes helps this channel grow and develop. I truly appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, take care.